Okay, so when we're talking about the polysaccharide, we talked about the animal polysaccharide and plant polysaccharide, right? So for animals, right, in the animal, the structural polysaccharide was called chitin, right? And chitin makes up the cell wall of a fungi, okay, or exoskeleton of our arthropod. Okay, so that's the use of chitin. And then we had storage polysaccharide for animals, right? Okay, so that was called glycogen. All right, and usually this gets stored in liver or muscle cell. Do you remember that? Okay, from last class, from like way before. Okay. Also, the plant polysaccharide, the structural plant polysaccharide was cellulose, right? Cellulose, and that was the cell wall component of the plant. Also, we had a storage polysaccharide for plant that was called starch. Do you remember all of this? Okay. So these were the polysaccharide, and out of that we talked about this one just now. Okay. So chitin is the cell wall component of the fungi. Okay, certain fungi combine with algae in a mutualistic symbiotic relationship, forming various lichens, okay, which are photosynthetic. So lichens are very special, like organism that looks like this. Okay, if you look closely to the picture, the bottom one, okay, this is the anatomy of the lichen. So if you look at this one, actually the fungus, the fiber of a fungus is actually wrapping around the algae. Okay, in this case, it's like green algae, right? Okay, so it's wrapping around the algal cell, and this algae specifically goes through the photosynthesis. Okay, so this organism itself entirely is called lichen. Okay, and it is composed of fungi wrapping around many photosynthetic algae cells. Okay, so lichens are photosynthetic organisms. Okay. And they can survive harsh, cold environments and even live on bare rock. Okay? And they're often the pioneer organisms, the first to colonize a barren environment in non-ecological succession. Okay? And then they reproduce asexually by budding. So in the case of yeast, when you look at this yeast, right, remember this is a parent cell, right? And then when you closely look at this picture, right, then out of the parent cell, there's like another bubble coming out, okay, budding out, right? So as a result, they bud out to become a daughter cell like this. So this is one way to reproduce for the fungi, and this is called budding, okay? Also, this kind of reproduction can also occur, right? Okay, so they can form spore and then disperse through the environment and go through the asexual reproduction like this. Okay, so they can go through these kind of stuff. They can go through budding, spore formation, and fragmentation. Fragmentation is basically, it's like a mitosis. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, so they actually increase their number of cells by actually dividing up. Okay, so fragmentation, budding, and spore formation, those ones are the asexual reproduction that the fungus organisms can go through. Okay, but also they can go through reproduction sexually like this. Okay, so actually they have different mating types. So they have mating type plus and they have mating type minus, and they can combine with each other to actually form like a diploid like this. Okay, and they can actually also go through asexual reproduction terminally, and then they get back to the sexual reproduction. Okay, depending on the environmental factors. And then examples of fungi are yeast, mold, and mushrooms, and the fungus that causes athlete's foot. Okay, so these are all the kingdom fungi. The next kingdom that is included in the eukarya is called the plants. Okay, plantae. They are all multicellular, non-motile, autotrophic eukaryotes. Remember, all the plants go through the photosynthesis, right? So any plant actually goes through photosynthesis.